And good evening, everyone. Let's see, we're going to wait 1 second, make sure everybody gets here. Bradley's here, Donna's here, and we should have the slides up now.
I think we're good.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Prince. I'm the CEO of Gadget, Brain Matter Incorporated. My partner, Donald Van Fossen, the Chief Technology Officer and co-founder, is also on with us. Our Chief Support and Training Officer, Bradley Benner, is also on with us. We are the ATM team. As everybody knows, there's been a lot of top secret stuff going on the internet. And for the last 5+ years, this has been an ongoing build project. Only 6 people were part of the original group. It was that kind of top secret. Now we want you to clear your mind. It might be filled with mindless junk from others. If you are an internet marketer, for the last few years, you've had your brain trained to think in a certain way. That needs to change. If you're a business owner, here to learn how to get leads with the ATM, you're really lucky. We do not have to try and retrain you to the ways of today and beyond. Now clear your mind and forget everything you know or have heard about SEO and traffic, because none of that stuff matters with the ATM. You will learn with the ATM that it is very quick to create sites. Minutes to build and minutes to deploy equals sites fast. These sites, they rank super fast as well. Thus, bringing you traffic really easily, and in most cases with sites, lots of great leads and sales very fast. Fast meaning in the first month they are deployed. You should get plenty of leads and you should convert them to actual sales without much effort at all. We teach people that your main money site is a site you should take massive care of and time to make as close to perfect as possible. Money site, if you're a business owner, is your main website. If you're an internet marketer, you already understand that. It's you have to go back and forth to allow people to understand and realize. The ATM lead generation sites are better suited to suck down traffic from search engines, sending you wonderful free organic traffic with awesome buyers. They should then rank so easily and extremely fast for the long tail keywords that organic traffic flows from them with vigor. But what happens if that lead generation site goes dark, or loses ranking, or stops sending traffic, or it expires after a year? The ATM makes it so simple to redeploy a new URL with the same ranking content that was loved by the search engines in the beginning. We teach and show you how to simply clone it and send it back out there and grab the traffic again, and again, and again, and again, and just keep getting it. We use a special indexing technology that will get your sites ranking in the search engines in no time flat. A lot of people know them. A lot of people don't know them either. It's called Backlinks Indexer. BLI is Matt and Dan Anton, and they're awesome partners of the ATM. I couldn't ask for 2 better guys to be working with. We have another special plugin that comes pre-installed with every build. It's called WP Overlayer. This is technology that my partner originally designed and developed many years ago that has come today totally different than it was originally intended. But this technology will put any site, or as we train, a landing page on the ranking content site that you have deployed with the ATM. The ATM funnels free organic traffic wonderfully. We love organic traffic, especially free traffic. It's quick to create and deploy, quick to rank, and we're quick to bring more traffic. But enough of the old style site building. This is the 21st century. And we've created a brand new game, ladies and gentlemen. A brand new game. That's correct. We're not changing the game with the ATM. We created a brand new game, completely reinventing it for the next few years without question. This is a web application years ahead of its time. Nothing online comes near it today. No one will ever be able to say that. And I'm going to recap quickly on it. You can queue up a new site for deployment in minutes. It can be cloned in minutes with the recycle button. They are so simple. Everything is so simple to build. It's a few buttons. And you're going to see that in a minute. Using the indexing technology that we have, they will quickly be indexed in the search results ranking. Backlinks indexer. Using our technology to instantly pull and display any site you want on the newly deployed sites with WP Overlayer that is pre-installed for you. Now, before I turn this over to Don to start a demo test drive, I want to give you a little preview of some featured highlights. You know, if you'll watch SportsCenter, then you know the highlight reel. Here are just 20 of those highlights to look over. There are many more, but you get the point. If I'm showing you 20, there's a ton more. You know, what are some of the functions and feature inside the ATM? We're always developing more and more and more and more. So for years to come, you're going to have a list, and it just keeps going and going and going. We got the special BLI indexing plugin that is installed on all deployed sites. We train you weekly on site building as well as A/B testing. We have an awesome support system, tickets and videos. We have an ever-expanding video support training library. You can use third-party API keys like Copyscape and Spin Rewriter. There's a graphics engine built inside. It's called the ATM Logo Creator by Mark Sylvester and Laughingbird Software. You can load your domains inside the ATM only. You don't need outside hosting, cPanel. We don't have that anymore. It's gone. Nothing exists with it. That's 20-year-old technology. They didn't update it, and there's way too many security breaches in it. You install your server for your hosting from the ATM in the back panel of the ATM. Automatically, it does it for you. You do not have to be a coder. All you have to do is put in your username, your password, the IP address. Done. Hit go. You'll see it in a little bit. Don is going to give you a full demonstration of this. You're going to be able to create your Cloudflare account from inside the ATM. You don't even have to go to Cloudflare. It's all done through the APIs. Bradley, I lost the screen for a moment. Oh,
should be sounding fine.
Sorry about that. That's back. We have 2.5 million pieces of PLR, private label rights, articles available for you to use. Now, these articles are for everything and anything, so you can use them for everything and anything. You know, if you're looking for, black widgets with round tips on it that are sold in Oshkosh B'gosh, there you go. You'll find an article there for it, I'm quite certain. You can, what's known as bomb any site that needs to be rebuilt with one button push. Say you look at your site and you find you have a horrible mistake on it. You didn't like it. You didn't like the picture. You didn't like the way something came out on it when you deployed. Hit the bomb button and it's gone. You don't go into it. You don't do anything. It's all behind in the ATM. Now say you want to nuke any old site that are 100, and these nuke it, meaning the site is a year old and you're done. You don't want it. It lost, it lost its ranking. It lost everything. You want to get rid of it. You don't want any trace of it on your server because you need the space. You don't want it in the ATM, anything. You hit the nuke button. Gone. Every remnant of it is gone. Say you've got a site out a couple weeks later and you want to check the indexing of any site. You do that with a push of a button. Edit any content you want before you deploy. It's a WYSIWYG editor. Recycle and use any content you want on any other site. A lot of people know that caffeinated content works very well. I keep hearing the word duplicate, and I hate it because it's not duplicate content. That's not what it means. Because it's on another site doesn't mean it's a duplicate. It means it's caffeinated. To reuse, it's PLR. And you do that. And a lot of people that are smart, they find content like we do that is loved by the search engine. And once it's loved by the search engine, you want to keep using it because that means more and more sites are going to get ranking for different keywords by that same piece of content. Your sites are held in a list with a site ID and a content ID. So this way you can see them, you can mark them on a spreadsheet and know this date, that date. All the dates are in there, as you'll see as well. You will learn how to do this and make your life so much easier while you're building your business to greater heights. You get an email when the site starts to build. That tells you, because maybe it's stuck in a queue for a few hours and you don't want to wait, and then you get the email it started to build. Then you're going to get an email when it's finished building with all the hyperlinks in it to go to the WP admin page to go in and do the cleanup. Your site automatically goes out for indexing in Google after you finished your cleanup in it. Now, we also have a private Facebook, Skype, and forum mastermind for members only. The Facebook, we allow anybody really, and even though it's a closed group. Now we're going to go inside the ATM. My partner, Don Van Fossen, is going to take over right now. And he's going to explain to you how the ATM works in depth. So, if you'll say hello to everybody, and please take over.
What's happening, everyone? I'm going to switch it so I can share the screen here. Let's make sure it's coming up. All right, can you guys see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you see me inside the ATM right now?
Yes, yeah. I do, Don.
All right. I know Brian went through this very thoroughly. I know he's going through all the text that we had there on the slides, but obviously text, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So what we're going to do is go through a quick build of a site, but I'm going to run through a few things on the ATM real quick first. We had mentioned, Brian had mentioned in the slides that you could add a server. Basically what happens is if you have a VPS server or a dedicated server or whatever have you have to have that to be able to use the ATM, but the ATM actually sets up that server for you. So it installs all the software and everything that you need to host sites. And the way that you do that is basically go to add server and fill in a few fields. Like Brian had mentioned, the server name, the IP address, your username, password. If you have a key, let's say the company that you have a server through gives you a key to use, then you would just paste that in there and click Add Server. Now, I've already added a server, so we're not going to go through that part right now because, as you can see right now, I have a server in here right now, and it's the Lead Gadget demo server. Once you have a server, though, you also need your Cloudflare accounts, and I know Brian had touched on real quick that the ATM signs up and creates a Cloudflare account for you, but a lot of people may not know what Cloudflare is. Basically, every domain out there needs name servers so that everyone who's out there with a browser typing in a domain name can actually make sure they land at the right place. That's probably about the most simplistic way I could put it. And Cloudflare is actually what you use for your name servers. And to create a Cloudflare account, I'm going to use the Cloudflare account I already have in here. You'll see one in here, but I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to create a Cloudflare account. Let's just punch in an email, make up a password, click Create Cloudflare Account. Now it automatically went out to Cloudflare, signed up, created that account for you, gave you an API key, all that good stuff, everything that the ATM needs to use for your domains and to create your hosting and all your sites, deploy your sites, etc., so that everything is working perfectly. Now, this is stuff that actually would be a little bit tedious, or actually a lot tedious if you had to go out, sign up for Cloudflare. Then every time you got a domain name, you had to put in all these different records in Cloudflare and all that stuff. The ATM does everything for you. Amazon S3, we use that to be able to store images. You'll see that in videos as well, but this is where you enter your Amazon S3 information, and it's very simple as well. The ATM takes care of all that for you too. But probably what everybody is probably more interested in is seeing how we go ahead and add a site. We've got a server added to the ATM. We've created our Cloudflare account. Now let's go ahead and actually add a domain. Now I went to Namecheap earlier and I bought a domain, and that domain was, one sec guys, gonna bring that up. Can you actually see this as well?
No, all I'm seeing is a black screen right now, Don.
Okay.
It's just a black screen, Don.
Okay, yeah, don't worry about it then. It's I didn't know if you could see the editor or not. The domain name I bought was produceMoreLeads.xyz. .xyz is a new domain extension. You know, they seem to come out with one of them every day.
We don't see your screen, Don, at the moment.
You don't see it?
No. Could you put it back up?
Oh, it is up.
I've got a black screen. Do you have a black screen, Bradley?
Is it coming up now?
Yes. No, we've got. Oh, yes. I think that's it, but it's showing the live. Yes. There you go.
Okay. Okay. Now I had to go back to the Hangout screen to actually start that screen share again. I don't know why I quit. But anyway, I'm still in here on the add domain screen. I bought a domain called produceMoreLeads.xyz. The site name, just give it Produce More Leads. I put the domain name in of produceMoreLeads.xyz. The servers that you have inside the ATM that are linked to the ATM, I select that. My Cloudflare account, I have two of them here. Here's the one I just made, but I'm going to use the one that I had already created. I'm going to go ahead now and add the domain. All you're doing right now is the blog username and blog password that you're giving it is what you'll use to be able to log into the blog that is deployed from the ATM, so your website.
So, Don, just to be clear for people that don't get it, with that is the WP admin username and password that you're putting on there, because I know we have a lot of businesses that are on that are not certain on some of those things, and I just want to make sure that they get it in the simplistic way.
Yeah,
just to make sure.
So that everybody understands, I mean, what the ATM does is it builds these websites, and they're built with using something called WordPress. So WordPress is a blogging platform, and it's just something to create it's a dynamic site. It's something that people use to be able to build sites easily. So with WordPress, we're deploying using WordPress. So the password and username that I put in there is if you actually went to your site, like if I went to Produce More Leads after I deployed it, I'd be able to use that username and password to log into the actual website if I wanted to do some changes or anything manually after the ATM was done.
Yeah, that's just your regular username and password, correct?
Yep.
Would you suggest that people keep a very like a security conscious password and a security conscious username, or would you, because it has 15 characters, so I think the best way to tell people is to always put, hit the shift key and go on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with an @ symbol, a pound symbol, a money symbol, something like that.
Whatever you do, try to make it, upper, lowercase letters and numbers. Try to make sure that the password's pretty secure. Never use the name admin for the username.
Ever. Please tell them that, because this is what happens to a lot of people when they get brute force attacked, And
the most common username for a WordPress blog is admin, so that's one of the ones that people attack. And when Brian's mentioning brute force, that just means they're using different software to keep trying to use a username and a password, random username and passwords to try to break into a blog. And eventually, if you have admin for your username, finding the username is going to be very easy. The password they'll have to work on, and eventually they get into your blog. So,
Okay, please continue, Don.
right now I'm just going to open this up real quick just so you can see. There's a default page here that just shows us that, yes, that site is actually live now. It's on the internet. Now, the ATM hasn't built it yet, but it shows that if you type in that domain, you can actually get to it now. So the server, the hosting environment, and everything was set up by the ATM for the website. The domain was created correctly because now we can actually get to that domain. So now we want to go through and actually create some content, because content, you obviously need content for the site.
Don, could I address something on that real quick? Because there's a lot of people that still might not understand. You don't need HostGator, for example, or GoDaddy hosting, or any other hosting company. You're doing this on your own VPS, your own EC2 instance on Amazon, your own server. This is your own product that is hosted very, very securely on your own servers. I just want to make sure that you realize you do not have, all these Just Host and Bluehost and all these other hosting cPanel stuff. You don't need it. It doesn't work with us. Please continue, Don.
A lot of people probably aren't going to understand what we're talking to when we're talking to about that, but just basically what you're doing is you're getting your own server, and the ATM sets it up for you. Right now, I'm just going to select this. This is a pack list. I'm going to talk about that shortly, but first I want to go through actually adding the content here, etc. A title. Every title has to be unique. So you see these placeholders right here, City 1, State 1. Those are placeholders that have to do with this pack list I selected. So we will go over that, so that I'd rather you see the build of the site first, so that it makes more sense on why we did it. Because when we go into explaining adding lists and creating pack lists, sometimes it gets a little confusing for people when it's actually simple, but it sounds confusing. The meta description. Now, the meta description is really important to your site. That is actually what people see in the search engine. So when they look up bakery in Saratoga Springs, New York, a lot of times they're going to see a listing of different sites in the search engine result pages and a little bit of text underneath each one of the links. You're used to that if you're searching through Google. The meta description is what people are going to see underneath those links.
You know what I like to teach people with that, Don? The first thing people see in the search engine is the title. That's the big bold stuff that's always in blue. But that's not what makes you click on the website, is it? You're going to read the little description that's right underneath that title just to make sure that that's what you were looking for. That's what the meta is. So if you turn around and you think about that for a minute, if you put a really good title in, and then you follow it up with a really good meta that's going to match your site the way people are searching for it, you're going to get a lot of traffic from it, period. Please continue, Don.
Yeah, right now we've got this list that I have in here is only Alaska, so we're going to build a quick site that's just based on Alaska. Now, when we build our sites, a lot of times we do it by geographic locations. Like, we'll do nationwide sites where you have a bunch of city and state information inside of the titles, the descriptions, the tags, all that stuff. Now, you can do it like that. You can do it with model numbers for products. You can do it with just a big list of keywords. You can do it however you want. But right now I'm doing a geographic site that's just going to be based on the state of Alaska.
That's just so you know, everyone, that's just to make it faster for this webinar. That's all it is. During the training that is every Thursday that Bradley will speak to you about in a bit, he will show you in details how to do this. Then we have plenty of support videos and different ways to build on different sites and different things to do already. And you'll get it. Believe me, Bradley's the best.
I'm just going to throw when I talked about the S3 earlier, this is what we're talking about. You can store all your images on S3, and then we can quickly grab some of these. And you'll see all kinds of different niches I have in here. So for right now, we're not going to I don't have anything in here for specific to lead generation, but this is something with just a surgeon in it, but we'll do that for right now. Just so that we have an image in here and can show you how easy it is to insert an image.
Okay, Don, what kind of editor is that? Maybe you could talk about that and go across it for a second for those that aren't that familiar.
What, this editor?
Yeah, yes.
It's called, it's just a what you see is what you get editor, like Brian said, a WYSIWYG. You have different keys here for cutting. If I wanted to cut something, depending on what browser you're in. Right now I'm in Firefox. If I was in Chrome, this would work. You have to hit Control. It'll tell you to hit Control X if I wanted to do that. But that's cut. That's paste. These are different types of paste as well. Or this is copy. These are a couple different types of paste. Like if I was pasting from a Word document, this is something you definitely want to know. A lot of people like to work in Microsoft Word. If you're going to put content in that you had inside of Microsoft Word, then you'll want to be able to use that button right there. Paste your content from Microsoft Word using that button.
Is that to keep those funny characters out of the back, Don, that we see in so many websites, those little squiggly stuff and all the rest that come in the back, correct?
Right. Microsoft has a funny way of formatting stuff with character encoding that can cause a lot of problems. So that's just to get rid of all the goofy little characters. A lot of times you can't even see those characters, but they're actually there just because of something called character encoding that Microsoft Word uses, and it's very poor for using with an editor like this. So that's why you use something like this to strip all that crazy stuff out.
Okay. So this piece of seed content, Don, could you show how you put these short codes in there from your pack list?
Yeah, my pack list is what I selected here, and if you noticed when I selected that, these buttons came up. Now these same, we still call them short codes, even though we have another set of short codes. These same short codes you can use anywhere inside these fields up here as well. But down here, it's nice and easy for you because you can just click the button. And then you'll notice they're being added as I click the button. So anywhere that you would like those short codes to show up, you just go ahead and click the button. I had this stuff inside of a text document here already made because we wanted to conserve a little bit of time. So just wanted to briefly show that.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
Now, other than that, we're pretty much...
I see string syntax in there. Could you explain a little bit for people?
Yeah, a lot of people probably may not know what syntax is, but if you don't, it's a format of words here where we want to be able to create something unique. So typically when we add a piece of content to something, we might add one paragraph that's in something called syntax format. And when the ATM generates the content for the site, right now it's going to generate, I don't know how many cities are in Alaska. I think it's 100 and something. So this site's going to be 100 and something pages when we generate it. When it actually adds this section to each piece of content, each one of these may change. You see these are grouped by little brackets, so the best, the very best, the most effective. It's going to randomly select one of those out of that group. So, I'm just going to show how that actually functions real quick. Actually, I'll just take the whole paragraph. If you notice over here in the tools section, we have a test spinner tool, and this is actually for that syntax so that you can see if the syntax is actually correct. And if you notice, this is showing a unique generated version of what you see up here. So the very best is what it picked this time. Now let's spin it again, and you'll see the best. So that basically it creates, when you add the content in like that.
So it makes every page unique, Don? Is that what you're trying to say? It helps with the uniqueness of every page within the site.
Right, adds a bit of uniqueness to everything.
Yeah, because the entire USA full list, ladies and gentlemen, is 30,000. There's 29,780 page posts that'll come out. That's because there's 29,780 cities within the 50 states of the U.S.
There's actually more, but we've cut out a lot of things like where there are duplicate. Like some states have there are some states with cities that have 5, 6, 7 different zip codes in them. So it's filtered down. So we give you we'll give you the list that we use.
Okay.
Um,
Please
other than that,
continue now.
on a blog, you have a sidebar. So, and a sidebar is usually like over here on the right-hand side that lists different things. You can select what you want to be in the sidebar by default when your actual site is built and deployed. So right here I say I want some random posts. So what that does is over on the sidebar it'll show the titles for 5 random posts that are on the site. Every time you load the site there might be 5 random other posts sitting there. This helps for a few things. Like when Google crawls the site or any web crawler from a search engine crawls the site, then it sees different content up in that right hand corner and it'll crawl that content. Helps you just to get more thoroughly indexed. Categories. In this case, I'm doing full state for my category, so it's only going to be Alaska. But if we were doing a nationwide build, then we would see over in the sidebar all the states on the right-hand side. Archives. I'm not actually going to select archives right now because personally it's a personal preference, but archives just shows a lot of different things like the different dates and etc. on the right side of your screen, where like all the content that was written in July, all the content that was written in February of a certain year is grouped by dates and things like that. Select site. I've only got one site in here, but if you had a bunch of different sites in here and you had all your domains in here, you'd see a whole list of the ones that weren't used yet, that you hadn't built yet. Since there's only one in this demo account, I would select that. And now that I have everything, what this does is this content ends up being linked to this site so that we know that we're going to deploy this content with this site. I'm going to go ahead and click add, and now I'm taken back to the screen that shows my content again. When I want,
Don, let me interrupt. Because a lot of people, just so it's clear for a lot of the business owners, there's a lot of internet marketers that use virtual assistants, and before they deploy the sites out and wasting time, they want to check them. So you have the edit button up there as well that is always available to you. This is before it's deployed. Maybe you saved it, you wanted to attach that content, but later on, as you saw Don put a picture in there that was more apt for an X-ray than for whatever else that leads gen with this site would be. So you'd want to go back in there and just correct it and fix that later. The one thing
you have to remember, I just wanted to touch on real quick, if you edit the content, you have to make sure you select your pack list again, and that is selected in the drop-down before you update the content.
Okay. So please, go on, Don.
All right, so I don't know if we want to touch on recycle yet or not because we haven't actually deployed the site, but we could touch on that because after you've built a site and you notice that the site is ranking really well, maybe one day the site disappears, it gets canned, like when Brian said that the site goes dark, you're not getting anything from it again, or you're finding that the site is doing extremely well and you want to be able to build another site that has a good chance of ranking even on the same pages for the same phrases so that you can take over more spots in the search engine results. You can do something like recycle the content. Let's say, for instance, that this site, this content right here was doing really well. We were getting all kinds of traffic from this site, from this content. So we want to recycle the content. And what that does is it adds copy of to this, to the title. You can now make sure you take that out. What you want to do is basically change up the content a little bit and then hit recycle so that you're saving it as a new piece of content again. And then you can redeploy this on a different domain. I don't know if you want to touch on that at all, Brian.
Yes, I think people should understand that the power of this. When you find a piece of content, we're going to use that example first. It is just so powerful that Google loves it for whatever reason. Maybe you wrote it, maybe you found it somewhere, it was just been used and it's so good. The fact of the matter is, you want to get as much traffic to your business, to your site, for whatever the reason you want that traffic is, you always want to use the best content. So if you find that it's working really well, put it on a couple of sites. That'll increase your odds, your percentages of getting more and more and more traffic, and you will end up at that point making more and more money. It's really just that simple, because traffic always equals what? Money. Because this is why we're in the, we're online, looking for new clients, looking for new customers, looking for new sales, CPA offers, AdSense, Amazon. It doesn't matter what it is. But good content, ladies and gentlemen, equals only one thing: more money. Go ahead, Don, please. Thank you.
All right, so we've added the content, we've added our site. We've actually, when we created the content, we actually linked it to the site. So if we go to deploy sites, we're going to see that content, the site ID, the content ID, and the content title here, and a deploy button. So what happens when we hit the deploy button? The site and the content actually goes into the ATM queue. And I'm going to go ahead and hit that now. And if we go to show content not deployed, all we see is our copy of now, because we've just now used the other content. I'm going to show content deployed, and we see the content that we just sent out to be built with that site. Same with this. Sites not deployed, we have none, because there was only one site in here. Remember, we just used it. Show sites deployed, there we go. Now what's happening is I'm going to go in here.
Hey, Don, before you do that, could you go back to that screen? I'd like you explain the buttons that I was talking about before, because I'll tell you what, they're very powerful, ladies and gentlemen. Don, please explain them so this way they understand the intent with everything.
Yeah, you'll actually see this after the site's built. I'll show you what the bomb button does. But what the bomb button does is, let's say, for instance, we put some content or something in there. The content ended up looking screwy, or it wasn't the way we wanted it. Something just didn't look right on the site. Something didn't work out right on the site that we tried. If we hit the bomb button, what's going to happen is it goes out and totally deletes that site, the content, off the web server. It doesn't delete the domain. It doesn't delete anything but the file, so that if we went to it, it would be a blank site again. And that means you can redeploy it. If I hit delete, it's just going to delete the site from the ATM itself. If I hit check index, that's going to show us, which obviously we have no pages indexed for this site yet, but if we did, it would show us a bunch of pages that we had indexed for that site in Google. And if we hit nuke, what happens is it's going to delete the site from the ATM, delete the site from the hosting server, and delete the site from Cloudflare and everything. When we say nuke, it means nuke. The entire site's going to be gone from existence. So just so everybody knows how, you have to be careful with that button.
Yeah, well, that's when you want to just get the junk off of your server, because, ladies and gentlemen, server space is a premium to a lot of people. Some people only have small servers that they want to use, but others, like myself, have multiple and big servers where you have hundreds of sites. So it's not as important to quickly get off a site that isn't producing money for you anymore. If the site stops producing money, there's no need to leave it out there. Just nuke it, get rid of it, make its existence gone.
Just so you guys can see how quick this was, this showed that I actually added the site to Cloudflare. This shows that my site actually began generating, and this was the email telling me that my site is finished. So if I click this link, we should end up at a site, and we did.
It's already built.
Now, of course, it's a plain site. We only have one category. We would be doing a national build. There would be a bunch of categories down here. Anything else that you want to do. But what you can do is you can go into WP Admin, and if I remembered what the password and everything was that I picked for this, demo 234. This site will be gone in a few minutes, so here we go. We can log into it. It's a regular blog. The only thing you have to do, and eventually you won't have to do this anymore, but right now we're doing stuff where you have to do that, and that's just save the permalink structure. You go to settings, you go to permalinks, save permalinks. We go back to the site right now. We'll notice that we can go to all these different pages that are in here, and you'll notice that they all have geographic locations added to them, like Myers, Chuck, Arkansas, Myers, Chuck, Arkansas. We have all that. We have that sprinkled through here. You'll notice our different tags that we had all have city and state information tagged to them as well. But it is a full-blown WordPress site, and that was a matter of a minute. But a full, US site takes about, on average, if you build it correctly, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how many sites are in queue. Because you have to remember, there's also other users that are using the system. Once the sites go in queue, as soon as it gets to their time to be built, the system automatically builds them. It's just like sitting, just like being in a line waiting at the drive-through at McDonald's. The sites are in a line and they get queued up, and when it's time to build, it goes out and builds them. Let's see. Tools, we went through this. This was a spinner. The ATM graphics creator, I'm on Linux right now, so this doesn't run. This is for Mac and Windows only, but what that does is it'll allow you to create images with just drag and drop ease, so that you can create images that can be saved and then used inside your content. Like we use this, you could create your own images. It's up to you. You can either create your own images or upload images. One of the things I guess we'll show right now quick is we might as well show that bomb feature.
Yeah, absolutely, Don. But before you do the bomb, when you show people the bomb feature now, the site is there. Everybody just saw it, okay? Now we're going to turn around, bomb it, go back to where the site is, and just refresh it so they can see that it's gone. And then, of course, you have the nuke, but go on.
We're not going to nuke it. But we see right here the site is still up. And when I click bomb, forbidden, you don't have permission. That's just because there's no default index page there, so that's what you're going to see when you bomb the site. And if I go back in, it's going to be back in deploy again, because all it did was break up the fact that it was used. It'll still stay linked to the content. Now, if you went in and edited your content, let's say, for instance, you deployed that content to the wrong site, you can go back in and edit it and then select another site if you have more sites. And that'll create the union with that content and another domain. And now we can hit deploy again if we want to, and the site will end up being built again. Support, we have a support link here that has all the different support links for the video library, YouTube channel, all that stuff, the ticket system. Profile, we have a user profile. I'm not going to, well, I can go into this one. You'll see that you can fill this in, add your address, your name, zip code, password, all that good stuff. Make sure your profile is complete. List APIs. If you have any APIs created, like say for instance you have a Spin Rewriter or a Copyscape account, you just enter the credentials that they give you in here and then save the API to the system. The servers we went over, Cloudflare we went over, and Amazon we went over. I don't know, can you think of anything else, Brian?
Yeah, I can. There's a lot of other things. I just wanted to let you continue, though, by going on. Like a lot of people were asking, I'm looking at other questions coming in. They're asking, is this an all-in-one system? And like, try to explain. I'm telling them yes on this. So I want you to realize, guys, that everything that's in this system from A to Z, the only thing you need to do outside of the ATM web app is buy your domain. Once you put your server in, I mean. Okay, so
I guess there is one other thing. Once you buy the domain and you create the Cloudflare account, when you add the site to the when you add the site to the actual ATM, you click on edit, and what you'll notice down here are the name servers, NS1, NS2. You go back into your registrar where you bought the domain and just add those.
Yeah, but you can, if you know what if your name servers are, for an example, too, ladies and gentlemen, you can have them when you're buying domains. You can already have that predefined and set up, so you don't even have to do that after the very first time. Usually, not all the time, but usually, Cloudflare does not change the name servers to an account most of the time. That doesn't. That's not to say it's 100% for certain that it will never change.
Did you see how quick that came through again? Now we have a new site up there again.
Yes. Okay. I mean.
So again, I hit deploy again, guys. Like when I said that when I was explaining it, and you see how quick that happened.
And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you're looking at a live demonstration on how quick this builds. I can tell you today, I put out personally 75 sites with Elizabeth, and I'm going to tell you what, 25 of them were done in 27 minutes. Timed it, 27 minutes. They were all 29,780 page posts. Each one of them are USA sites, full USA sites. These sites will be indexed by the middle of the end of next week, fully indexed. When they're fully indexed, they'll be sucking down AdSense money. They'll be sucking down lead gen. They'll be sending people to Amazon. They'll be just making me money. That's all that I know how to do is gather leads. I have companies, and Don and I have corporations that pay us to send them leads. We have other affiliate deals that, want leads. There are a lot of customers that are on the ATM that have been on doing a lot of testing and been with us quite a bit of time now, that they get all kinds of leads for all kinds of things, and they're earning very good living.
I think we should touch on something. The fact that the ATM, when you look at an application like this, it basically is built to be able to make sure that you can build these sites fast, produce sites that are going to actually produce traffic and make income for you. The ATM's not made for building a site where you're going to sit there and play around with that site for you. It has a specific reason. It's a specific tool for building large numbers of sites and being able to produce large numbers of traffic and large numbers, large income, huge income potential. So I think a lot of, the days of, I know a lot of people are used to, that might be on this webinar, are used to where they just build one site and then they play around with it for like 6 months. Blah, blah. That's not how money's made. When you're building sites, you use a tool like this so that you can build a lot of sites, generate a lot of leads, a lot of conversions, a lot of affiliate commissions, do whatever you can, get as many sites out there as you want, get a ton of them out there quickly, get them ranking, and start making money.
Yeah, that's for certain. That is for certain, Don.
Are you checking out?
No, actually, you want to know something? Bradley, why don't we see? Do we have a couple, unique questions? Maybe you could add some.
I'm not seeing any questions actually coming through at the moment, so everybody must be floored.
It's funny. I've got my phone up with Skype on it, and I've got it quiet, and I've got some guys that, in one chat group that I know that we're going to be on, and they're really good guys, and they're all looking and they're like, oh wow, the ATM, how does it work compared to this and that and certain other plugins that you've built, Don? Maybe you could address that. Maybe you'd like to address that as well.
Well, I mean, as far as how it compares to other systems that are out there, I mean, most of the people that ended up being our customers, I mean, they had tried other systems, so they basically told us that there was nothing that could hold a candle to this. And obviously, I don't really look at a lot of the other systems out there, but a lot of people ask me things like, how's it compared to like SERPshaker, which is a plugin that myself and Andres Tobar wrote. SERPshaker's obviously an excellent plugin. I love the thing, but It's made so that, actually every time you use SerpShaker, you have to go out and you have to install WordPress, and then you have to install a plugin, and then add uh, your lists and all that stuff, and then generate the site, and then go through and rinse and repeat that. It is a lot of manual processes in it, and the big difference here is when you're looking at the ATM is the speed. It holds all the stuff that, all your keywords, all your lists. It has the tools in it like the graphics creator, SpinnerWriter, Copyscape, all that stuff built into it. It's everything is in one place. It goes out and it sets up the web server for you. It sets up your Cloudflare account. It sets up the domain in Cloudflare. It does all this stuff that you would manually do automatically.
Okay. That's what I think they need to know. People always looking for things like with a time sink. We always talk about this and that. It's a time sink. You know what I'm saying, Don?
Right.
And when a lot of people, they look at other products and programs, and they look at other software that's out there. I've heard of there's other site building stuff that they've played with, but they've never played in the ATM yet. So they're already biased. And when I say they're biased, I'm not even talking in a bad way. I'm talking in a way that they like what they're using because they don't know anything else yet. But when they start to use the ATM,
hey Bradley, go ahead and you can throw it back on the slides for the screen share, or did it go back there for everybody? I don't know.
It is now.
It is now.
Okay.
When they turn around and they try it and they realize how much time they're saving just from loading their domains in stupid cPanel alone, that they never have to do again. Just from the time that they never have to go on a Cloudflare and change the name server and add IP addresses. Just from the time from setting up a server that they never have to touch again, that they never have to enter again. That just from checking the indexing of their sites that within their own panel in the back of the ATM, that you never have to go out of again. Just that time saving alone will turn around and make a lot of people say, wow, I can't believe how much money and time that is. Because time is money, and if you're paying somebody, for certain it's going to cost you.
Well, it's not just the time either, it's the confusion. I mean, a lot of people that are new to this, especially people that own their own businesses out there but aren't really that internet savvy yet, they don't know anything about going into cPanel and doing all this other goofy stuff. The ATM does all of it for you so that you don't have to worry about that. You only have a few minor things like going back into your registrar where you bought the domain and changing the name servers, which is simple, and you'll see that. If you want an S3 account with Amazon, it's very simple to do that. I mean, that kind of stuff is just simple. But when you're talking about creating a website and hosting a website and uploading files and creating databases and all that stuff, that's where everybody starts going, this is too complicated. Well, the ATM takes all that complication out, and it not only does that, but when it sets up the servers, it sets them up great so that they run really quickly. They run smoothly. Your sites are up there getting as much traffic as they can. There's no massive wait for a site to load. You get the best rankings you possibly can because search engines, when they come to your site, they look at how fast your site loads, how much content you have there, how relevant it is to whatever niche or vertical you're in, and things like that. That's how they rank the pages. So with using the ATM, I mean, it takes care of so many things for you that when you look at the interface, it just doesn't do justice to how many things are going on in the back end.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, Don. This is an enlightenment for a lot of people, and someone will give this a chance when they get on here and when they measure out how much time they've saved they're going to realize that they need less employees in their business. When you realize you're saving payroll money, just that payroll alone, the savings there will more than pay for the monthly cost here.
Yeah, well,
That is a fact.
ultimately, the ATM should lead to the need to hire more people because of all the leads you're going to generate for your business. You won't be able to handle the work.
Well,
Right, the manual process of creating sites and everything, it reduces that workload, but you're going to need people probably, if you're doing lead generation, you're definitely going to need people to handle those leads and process them and everything for you.
well, I'll tell you what. We have Darren, who happens to be one of the largest SEO companies in Australia. And between him and his partner, they have about 3 servers completely stuffed with sites right now. And these guys, they'll tell you very pointedly that they are making tens of thousands of dollars just on the phone calls on the leads that they're making a month. They're getting lead after lead after lead after lead after lead after lead. Phone number after phone number, calling in after calling in. And it's just how it is, and that's all they deal with. That's the only thing they deal with. Now they've come and started invading the USA with the sites, and I'm going to tell you what, I got to start to copy them because the money they're making with it is just astronomical. Now imagine if you're a small business, though, Don, before you say that. Imagine you're a small business and you put out 50 sites, and all of a sudden your phone starts ringing at 9 a.m. in the morning, and it doesn't stop until 9 a.m. in the morning. Okay, yeah, I said 24 straight hours, because people will call at any given time, day of the night. This is what it's about, getting more leads for your business, getting more traffic for whatever your AdSense sites are, getting more of whatever you need to have people call you for. That's what the ATM does, and that's the only thing it knows how to do.
Okay.
I forgot what I was going to say. See, I'm getting old. All the as far as people with local businesses, I know there's some people around here. Like I had just talked to a guy that has they do all pools and hot tubs because they fixed my hot tub for my wife. They do like a 60-mile radius. But it's funny because you build these sites and you build them for specific locations. Think of the money you could make off of off the guys that are outside the 60-mile radius that you could sub those leads to other companies. Build partnerships and relationships with other companies that you can actually send that stuff to them and make more money off of it, even off the leads that you get that are outside your area. I mean, and it's not just, I think the funny thing is too is that we're talking about lead generation specifically, but this isn't just about lead generation. I mean, this is great for affiliate commissions, CPA commissions, Amazon sites, AdSense sites, you name it. It works for everything.
We've turned around and we've had a lot of training with Bradley. Bradley, if you wouldn't mind taking over now so people understand what's going on and what goes on with the training, and please go ahead.
All right, yeah, and I'll kind of run down through these bullets, and then I'll touch on the training as well. Guys, as Don and Brian have been saying, we use this application. Don and Brian have been using it for many years. I'm the new kid on the block as far as that's concerned, but I've been using it since the beginning of this year in 2015, and just been building lots of sites with it and doing the training as well. That's what I was originally brought on for. And, so this is an application that we all use for our own businesses as well. We test all the time. We are constantly testing. I know myself as, the chief training officer, I test because of requests made by other Lead Gadget members. They, request specific site builds. And I haven't built every type of site that I can with the Lead Gadget, with the ATM yet. So, I take requests and then create builds and do training videos for those specific type of builds. So it's kind of experimental on my end as well, but it keeps it interesting, and it also kind of reveals different methods and strategies that we can use the ATM for that may have been overlooked had it not been tested, right? So I think that's really important. It's updated all the time. Don is probably the hardest worker I've ever met in my life. That man never stops coding, so he's always updating and updating and updating. So that's something that it continues to evolve to become better all the time. We host weekly training webinars. That's hosted by me every Thursday. Currently, they're every Thursday, and we alternate to where one Thursday it'll be at like 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, and then the following Thursday it'll be 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And we do that because we truly have a global following, members from all across the globe. So I try to alternate the training webinars to where the replays will always be available. So if you can't catch it at the live training, then you can always watch the replay. But I do that intentionally, alternate the 12-hour windows like that so that we can accommodate all of our members, okay? But the weekly training webinars, they're Q&A webinars, but that's also a good place, a good time for me to go over like any kind of case studies that we've got set up, ongoing site builds, and tracking and monitoring of case studies that I've got going on. Again, a lot of times they have to do with our members and our other ATMers that request certain types of site builds. So it's a good time to review those sorts of things, like what I did for the build, how it's performing. Honestly, sometimes the sites don't perform as well as we'd like, but that's great because we just learned what not to do. You know what I mean? Or you just go out and deploy more sites because it's like some of them will stick and outperform what you could have ever imagined. Other sites don't perform as well, but that's not, the idea is to continue to build. And so we get to cover a lot of that in our weekly training webinars, as well as the additional training that I do. Like I'll just get up, one day I'll just come up with an idea to try something, and I'll record myself doing it, and create and just put them on the YouTube channel in a playlist, and then I'll drop into the Facebook group and drop the playlist URL and say, hey, I did this today, guys, check it out. And it might be 6 or 7 videos, 3 or 4 hours worth of training or something that just shows like step by step what I did, and I think that helps a lot of people as well. So there's a lot of training, there's a lot of testing. This is something that I know Don and Brian have put their heart and their soul into for many years, and I stand behind it as well. And we thank you for your trust and your confidence.
I just wanted to grab something real quick that Bradley had mentioned. I just want to touch on something. He talked about all the coding and stuff that goes on. The ATM, just so everybody knows, the ATM is not done. The ATM never will be done. It'll always change, evolve, and be updated to correspond with the way that business changes and evolves. So just so you know that, like we said, when Bradley mentioned the fact that we use this is the core of our business, this application, so it's always getting changed, it's always getting updated, and it happens a lot of times without anybody even knowing. So a lot of times you don't even notice what's happening on the back end that's being changed or how it evolves.
Well, the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, software as a service today, that always lets you know it includes updates, it includes support, it includes everything. We've had members publicly post on Facebook the testimonials, and they prove we're worthy. The fact of the matter is, we want to make sure that everybody stays as happy as possible. Now, sometimes I can do a good job at it, sometimes I can't. Sometimes Don and I are having a tough time with things, okay, and I got to get more servers, and I shell out the money, and it doesn't matter because we know it's for the greater good. The bigger end of this is what's going to justify, that's what's going to justify what's going on here. Okay, and the greater good on this is how much this makes people. This is what me and Don really love. We like to see how much this makes people, period. And we like to hear it from some people. So, we also like to hear when people go online and they put nice things about us in our Facebook group, and boy, I'll tell you what, some people got some really nice things to say about the training that I've done, the training that Don's done, the training that Bradley's done, the help that Elizabeth has done, the help that Erin has done, the help that a lot of people that are involved in this have been. None
Well,
of this.
what they're gonna find out is once they join is the fact that once you get into like the Skype group, Facebook group, and stuff like that, you're gonna find out that all these people that are actually using the application right now are more than willing to help. And people don't really hide things in here. Like, you know how you're used to seeing stuff where if you're in the internet marketing realm, like a lot of business owners might not see this, but everybody's always like hiding what they're doing or whatever. People aren't afraid to do it because the ATM, you're not stomping on each other's, you're not stepping on anybody's toes, you're not doing anything. You can go out and do the same exact types of things and make money that everybody else is doing. So people aren't afraid to help each other.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people that they do a lot of things. As an example, there's a plugin called Zero Bounce that we've been using an enormous amount of with ATM sites, because a lot of people make AdSense sites, because you can make 100 of them in a week like it's nothing, and just, you know, and these are white hat sites. Let me clarify that for people that are in the internet marketing realm. On the white hat side, you know, without any paid traffic or otherwise, these sites suck down leads, and they turn around and they do a lot on the AdSense. But when people want to bounce out because they want the actual product, we put Zero Bounce in it, send them over to Amazon with your affiliate code, and the next thing you know, you're making just as much in Amazon money as you are in AdSense money, or more even. There's a lot of people that have had a lot of good input and a lot of good help here, and you know, things have been really going well lately. We had a little problem once before with hosting, and Don's hard work fixed it. It wasn't my hard work; it was his. And credit should always be given.
Everybody's working overtime, so
You know, so ladies and gentlemen that have put these nice comments inside of Facebook for us in the past, again, I publicly thank you for publicly thanking me, because without you guys, we're nothing. You know, the amount of service that we do is just based upon your need, and we're always going to be here. So, Bradley, if you want to go to the next one here, that'd be great. Okay. Everybody's asking, well, how much does it cost? What is it? Everything's for one low price. $247 a month allows you to build 20 traffic question sites every day. No upsells, no downsells. We give you everything you need to succeed. You need to get only a VPS or a server with Ubuntu 14.04. Period. Blank. Nothing else. Do not get, oh, I need cPanel, I need this, I need that. No, you don't. Not for the ATM. The ATM will handle Nginx. The ATM will handle Apache. The ATM will handle it all. You can also use Amazon EC2 instance. We have full instructional videos and instructions how to install them. As you saw, it's really nothing to put it in whatsoever. It's a username, a password, and an IP address. Maybe you have a key or you don't have a key on that one. Okay? And of course, you got to supply your own domains. Now, there's a lot of SEO and leads gen companies that have been calling us lately and trying to get commercial accounts, commercial business accounts. We do have larger packages, depending on where you come in at. We will handle it. It doesn't make a difference. Anybody that has been in the ATM, as a beta tester or has been in, it doesn't make a difference, how long you've been in. If you're in, you're grandfathered in. As of today, the price is $247. Okay, there are no discount coupons out there, ladies and gentlemen. We're a straight-up company. We are only taking 300 new people in, period. Once we get to that cap, we will be closing the doors. There will not be doors open for quite some time once we get that 300 in there, period. So
yeah, if you follow all the training and everything that's involved with this, especially like the weekly training that Bradley does, all the help everybody will give you in a Skype group and the Facebook, that $247 a month, if you can't make way over that, you're not actually using it. So
yeah.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, we really thank you for coming on here, and we would like to take your questions and your comments and anything else. If you kindly put them in, Bradley will read them off, and we will try and answer them for you as completely and fully as possible.
Yeah.
So, Bradley, do we have questions and comments and everything else in there?
We have a couple. Let's see, Ganty. He's asking Don specifically. Don, he's got a couple questions specifically. You want me to go ahead and read them off?
Go ahead.
All right. He says, can you name off a list of the plugins that are going to be installed and included with the domain once it's deployed?
Once it's deployed, I mean, obviously you can add your own plugins because these are WordPress sites that are, are real WordPress sites. So anybody can log into that admin section like I showed when I logged into the blog that we just built. But by default, it has like all-in-one SEO plugin. It has a helper plugin that we have in there specifically. It has a WP overlayer. Let's take a look.
Yeah, and he follows up with the second part of that. He says, I know that whatever kind of plugins we install, meaning him, it is his responsibility. Having said that, can you please tell us what not to install that might break it, if you know of any?
Offhand, I couldn't tell you anything offhand that I know that would break it.
Test it, Ganty.
Yeah, pretty much got to test it. I mean,
we have our local breaker. We have Kevin. Okay, he likes to break everything. Okay, we don't worry about it. We got Kevin, and Kevin will bust it. If
he's our resident site breaker.
But if you look at all-in-one SEO pack, Google XML site maps, the BLI ATM booster that we were talking about. Easy plugin for AdSense is already in there. If you want to add AdSense code, insert PHP, you don't have to worry about that. We'll probably take that out of the builds. StatPress, if you want to activate that so you can see stats for the blog. This is a helper plugin that you should never remove. The cleanup one is just something if you want to do some cleanup on your blog, like remove some of the old any orphan posts or something. Let's say you actually log into the blog and you add more posts to it yourself, or do any kind of changes to it. This cleanup plugin can help with that. The overlayer and Supercache. If you activate Supercache, you can, make your site even faster by activating that plugin.
Yeah. All right, so the third part of that, thank you, Don. He says, Bradley Bunner has many tutorial videos. I'm assuming that most of the videos still apply for the site build, specifically his way of building, having all the components on a notepad text file. So what he's asking is, and Ganty, all of the training is going to be updated on my end. I'm going to be doing all fresh new videos due to the new interface. So all of that will be updated. But yes, I like to use templates. But with the way that Don has it set up now, we can recycle content. So, I mean, I'll still keep a backup on a notepad file. What Ganty's asking about is when I go to build out a site, I try to keep everything on a notepad file, just a text file that I keep, I save that so that I can quickly copy and paste the content in, again, for another site build if I'm going to duplicate the site. But, again, since Don has the recycle function in it now, that the ATM will handle that as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I mean, the recycle button actually is one of the reasons, that's one of the reasons we put it in there, not to mention the fact that, like we said, when you have a site that's doing really good, why not use the same content and just tweak it up a little bit more?
Okay, very good. Number 4, part of the last part of this is any info on backup solutions and silo structure.
Silo structure is almost complete. That'll actually be in here. And what Ganty's talking about there, for everybody that's on here and doesn't know, is interlinking internal posts. So, for instance, you have all those different posts. Like, for instance, we have 100-something posts that were on the Alaska build that I did. Interlinking all those posts together just helps the web crawlers actually crawl the site even better and build more relevance and rank you better. So we're adding that in there. What was the other part?
Backup solutions.
Backup solutions for. He's asking me about that for.
Can I address that, Don? Can I address that? Okay, the backup solutions, guys, are this. I made it really simple. There's a plugin out there called WP Twin. Okay, you can put that in your site. You can turn around, because once you build your site and it's done, I don't think anybody's going in there and adding anything to ATM sites.
Right.
So the smartest thing that I figured out was you take WP Twin, you go in and you clone your site, and you download it locally to an external drive that you have at your house, or your office, or whatever. Now, if you ever lose your server, you ever lose a site for hacking or something like that, you can literally bomb the site and rebuild it if you ever need whatever. Your site moved, for an example. You have it, and you can move the exact site you had, put it wherever you want in 3 minutes. It's done. Having it like that saves you time, money, and effort. It saves you agita, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're trying to back up a whole entire server at once because you're trying to do something like that, I think that might be a little bit more complicated for people, but I can always come up with some links for you that'll help you out with that as well.
Very good. Mars Lynn says, is there a way to add a list of keywords? Yes, Mars, that's what the custom lists are for, as well as the short codes. That you can add a list, your own list of keywords, your own list of geographic locations, states, cities, states, zip codes even. Like Brian said, you can use model numbers, part numbers, anything that you want to create lists for the site builds, you can do that. Anyway, he says, is there any way to rotate the image instead of just using one image for all the posts? You can. There is a way to do that. Does it use random template? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. And anyway,
he's probably talking about the theme for WordPress. It just uses the 2012 theme all the time. So if you want to change the theme, you can log in and change the theme to anything you want. Because, like I said, it's a real WordPress site. But we use a 2012 theme on everything that we do. So
yeah. Well, the idea with that is with like the WP overlayer, you can overlay pretty much any page you want on top of the content pages, so that essentially what I've been doing is creating a landing page that is like a high converting landing page, whether it's asking for a contact form submission or a phone trying to get the visitor to make a phone call, whatever the landing page is set up for to convert, whatever the conversion it's optimized for conversion for. Then we just overlay that on top of the site, because that's what you want people to land on a page that is optimized for conversion. So.
And I think one of the things that people always worry about is they're always worrying about things like a footprint or something with the theme. Now, if anything, the 2012 theme is going to be less of a footprint than anything, because there's about 1 billion sites out there with it.
Yeah. The last part of that question, he says, any way to make the pages index faster? Yeah, backlinks indexer is part of it, and then that
you don't need
backlinks indexer plugin will automatically drip feed out some of the posts on a daily basis.
Right.
Well, we have a promote button this is a new interface that we actually added. So we've actually rebuilt the ATM from the ground up, and there was a promote button in the old version, which we're actually adding back. So that'll be in there as well, and soon.
Okay. Very good. That was all the questions I had at the moment.
Well, we've been on here a good amount of time. I want to say thank you to everybody. I want to say for Bradley Benner, for Donald Van Fossen, and myself, I'm Brian Prince. Thank you. We hope you'll join us here in working on the ATM with the Lead Gadget guys at leadgadget.com. We also have several other URLs that you can get to us on. If you find that we're worthy, which we hope you do, go to https://join.theatm.us. And you can turn around right now and sign up, and it's all automatically going to set you up as well. Listen, if you have a business that is looking to grow, we're the guys that are going to help you. Thank you very, very much. Don, if you have any closing remarks?
No, that's it. Just, if you guys sign up, and let's say, for instance, it sends you out an email with your login information. If you don't get it, then just go ahead and use the support. You can either go to support.brainmatterinc.com, or you can go to the support link that you see here in the webinar, which is theatm.us/support. Either one of them will get you to the right place, and then we can get you your username and password if something happens. You never know. With a lot of people have Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, and all that other stuff, and sometimes those things like to bounce emails. If that happens, don't worry. We'll get you set up quick.
Hey, thank you. Bradley, if you'd like to add anything in closing?
No, man, just hope to see everybody on the inside and get a chance to work with you and help train you to make some money and generate some leads and improve your business.
Well, guys, all we care about is one thing: making the ATM the best product that there is on the internet, so that this way you can brag about us and how your business is just growing day after day after day. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day or night, depending on where you are.
Bye, guys.
Later, guys.